Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Rumors are swirling in the NFL world, and if they turn out to be true, the Miami Dolphins might just be getting the steal of the off-season. Word is that Chris Jones, the defensive juggernaut known for his unyielding presence on the line, could be making a shocking move to South Florida. Imagine a defensive lineman with the sheer dominance and physicality of Jones stepping onto the Dolphins roster. The impact would be seismic. This would not just be a typical signing, it would be the transformation of Miami's defense into a fortress. Picture Jones as the human wall protecting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, an ironclad shield, ensuring the young QB can operate without the nagging fear of collapse or relentless pressure. The Dolphins have been steadily building around Tua, aiming to turn him into a legitimate franchise quarterback. But the missing puzzle piece often seemed to be a defense stout enough to give him the time and confidence he desperately needs. Bringing in a player of Jones' caliber could be that game-changing piece, the cornerstone that finally elevates Miami's defense from decent to dominant. If this rumor is true, the Dolphins are signaling to the rest of the league that they're not just playing around anymore. They mean business, and they're ready to protect their investment with some of the toughest players in the game. Everyone's buzzing, wondering how the addition of such a force would change Miami's defensive schemes and overall identity. The potential for this signing to shift the AFC East balance of power is undeniable, making it a hot topic among analysts and fans alike. In this scenario, Tua Tagovailoa suddenly becomes a much safer bet, no longer needing to scramble under pressure or worry about defensive collapse. The Dolphins front office must be working overtime behind the scenes, exploring the possibilities of adding Jones to their defensive arsenal. It's the kind of move that sparks intrigue and raises questions. How will the coaching staff integrate a talent like Jones into their system? What defensive adjustments will be necessary to maximize his impact? The prospect of Jones becoming a Dolphin injects a new layer of excitement and hope into the franchise's narrative. Fans are holding their breath, eager for confirmation, as this potential blockbuster signing could reshape the team's trajectory and inject a level of dominance not seen in Miami's defense in years. Could this be the moment the Dolphins finally put the pieces together to protect their prized QB and make a serious playoff push? The anticipation is building, and all eyes are on Miami as this rumor continues to gain traction in the football world. If Chris Jones really does don the aqua and orange, it would be a statement of intent like few others. Jones isn't just any defensive lineman, he's a force of nature, a player who demands attention from opposing offenses with his combination of size, strength, and technique. The Dolphins have struggled in past seasons to protect Tua from the relentless blitzes and pass rushes thrown their way. Despite some defensive talent, the team hasn't been able to consistently neutralize threats up front, leaving Tua vulnerable to hits and pressure that have stalled drives and sapped confidence. Adding Jones would not only shore up the defensive line but also send a clear message to the rest of the NFL that Miami is serious about defense. His ability to clog running lanes and disrupt the pocket could dramatically change how opposing offenses game plan against the Dolphins. Suddenly, teams would have to contend with a physical wall in the trenches, altering their entire offensive approach. For Tua, this would translate into precious seconds to survey the field and make plays. Beyond just the on-field benefits, Jones' presence could elevate the entire defense's mentality, instilling a sense of toughness and resilience. Young players would look up to a veteran like Jones and raise their level of play accordingly. The ripple effect could turn Miami's defense into a unit that not only defends well, but also intimidates. Speculation is rife about how this signing might affect the Dolphins' cap space and roster construction. Would Miami have to make tough decisions elsewhere to accommodate Jones' contract? And how would this impact their future draft picks and free agency plans? The front office must be juggling these complex factors as they contemplate the potential addition. Meanwhile, fans are debating the possibilities online, with some envisioning a Dolphins defense that finally lives up to the hype and others questioning if the move will pay off in the long run. Regardless, the rumor of Chris Jones becoming a Dolphin is enough to generate excitement and hope among the fan base. It's the kind of news that fuels off-season chatter and builds anticipation for the next chapter in Miami's quest for football glory. The real question is, will this buzz materialize into a reality that changes the landscape of the AFC? Time will tell, but for now, the mere possibility has stirred a storm of speculation and dreams in the Dolphin community. The potential addition of Chris Jones to the Miami Dolphins also raises interesting tactical questions. How exactly would the coaching staff deploy a player with Jones' skill set? Would he serve primarily as a run stopper, or would the Dolphins look to exploit his pass rush abilities more aggressively? Coaches might have to reconfigure defensive schemes to fully leverage his talents, possibly shifting to a more aggressive front that disrupts offenses before they can get comfortable. Such a change would mark a departure from some of the more conservative defensive strategies Miami has employed in recent years. Furthermore, Jones' versatility means he could be effective in multiple roles along the defensive line, allowing the Dolphins to create mismatches against opposing offensive linemen. The mere presence of a player like Jones can change the way offenses prepare, forcing them to devote extra resources to neutralize him. This would in theory free up other defenders to make plays and create pressure from unexpected angles. For Tua Tagovailoa, the benefits would be immediate and tangible. With Jones anchoring the line, Tua would enjoy increased protection, more time to set up his throws, and the confidence to execute more complex plays. This kind of security is invaluable for a young quarterback still developing his game. But beyond the tactical and strategic benefits, there's also a psychological element at play. Knowing that a dominant player like Jones is standing guard can boost a quarterback's morale and resilience, making him less prone to panic when the pressure mounts. The Dolphins' front office and coaching staff would need to carefully balance their defensive priorities, integrating Jones in a way that complements the rest of the squad. It's also worth noting that adding a player of Jones' caliber could attract other top talents to Miami, creating a domino effect in free agency and the draft. The ripple effect of such a signing could extend well beyond just the defensive line, potentially reshaping the entire team dynamic. Fans and analysts alike are eagerly speculating about what this could mean for Miami's chances this upcoming season. The possibility of having a human wall protecting Tua is tantalizing, sparking debates about whether this could be the missing ingredient for the Dolphins to finally break through in the playoffs. While nothing is confirmed, the buzz around Jones potentially becoming a Dolphin is growing louder by the day, fueling hopes and conversations in the football community. If the deal happens, it would be a defining moment in Miami's rebuilding process and a bold step toward establishing a championship-caliber defense. One of the most fascinating angles of this potential move is the timing. Miami's defense has shown flashes of improvement, but hasn't quite reached the consistency needed to make a deep playoff run. Chris Jones entering what many consider the prime years of his career could be the catalyst that shifts Miami from a good team to a truly elite defensive unit. The timing couldn't be better if the Dolphins want to capitalize on Tua Tagovailoa's progression and the young offensive weapons they've assembled. By bringing in a player who can control the line of scrimmage, the Dolphins could reduce the burden on their linebackers and secondary, allowing the entire defense to function more cohesively. This synergy could be the difference maker in tight games where every defensive stop counts. Moreover, Jones' leadership and experience would add invaluable intangibles to a locker room hungry for success. Young players often look for veterans to guide them through the highs and lows of an NFL season, and Jones' presence could stabilize and inspire the team. The Dolphins have been working to establish a culture of toughness and accountability, and a player like Jones embodies those qualities. This rumored signing is generating buzz not just because of what Jones can do on the field, but because of the holistic impact he could have on the franchise. If the Dolphins secure Jones, it might signal a shift in how the team approaches free agency, prioritizing proven elite talent that can make an immediate difference. This could set a new precedent for the organization, showing a commitment to winning now while still developing young players. Fans, analysts, and rival teams are all watching closely, recognizing that if Jones becomes a Dolphin, Miami might have finally found the key to unlocking their full potential. The speculation around this move is not just about the player, but about what he represents for the future trajectory of the franchise. It's a narrative rich with possibilities and excitement, feeding into the larger story of the Dolphins' quest for greatness. The buzz about Chris Jones becoming a Dolphin also touches on the broader competitive landscape of the AFC East. The division has become one of the most competitive in the NFL, with the Bills and Patriots both fielding strong rosters and posing serious challenges. If Miami were to add Jones, it would send a powerful signal that they're ready to challenge those established powers head-on. This kind of move could alter the dynamics of the division, forcing rival teams to reconsider their strategies and roster compositions. The Bills, with their high-powered offense, and the Patriots, with their disciplined defense, would suddenly face a Dolphins team bolstered by one of the league's most feared defensive linemen. The presence of Jones could disrupt passing games, force adjustments in blocking schemes, and create opportunities for turnovers that swing momentum in Miami's favor. It could also elevate the profile of the Dolphins as a legitimate contender in the eyes of fans, media, and even future free agents. For Tua Tagovailoa, playing behind a defense anchored by Jones means entering matchups with increased confidence and reduced pressure to carry the team solo. The division games, often season-defining, could tilt in Miami's favor. Thanks to this rumored acquisition, analysts are already speculating how Jones' presence might influence Miami's defensive rankings, sack totals, and run defense metrics. The potential for Miami to climb the ranks within the division and secure a playoff spot grows with every mention of this rumor. Rival teams might feel the heat knowing that the Dolphins are gearing up to challenge the status quo with a reinforced defense. The ripple effect of Jones joining Miami could be felt not just in Miami, but throughout the AFC East and beyond. This rumor isn't just a headline, it's a potential game changer in the balance of power within one of the NFL's most exciting divisions. Fans and pundits alike are watching eagerly to see if this buzz will turn into reality and if Miami will finally have the defensive backbone needed to protect Tua and compete at the highest level. Another angle to consider is the chemistry factor. Defensive lines thrive on cohesion and teamwork, and adding a dominant player like Chris Jones could either enhance or disrupt that balance. Miami's coaching staff faces the challenge of integrating Jones without upsetting the existing dynamics among the defensive front. Jones' style of play, aggressive, relentless, and physical, might require adjustments from his new teammates to complement his approach. If done right, this could create a defensive line that is greater than the sum of its parts, with each player feeding off Jones' energy and presence. The ripple effect could elevate the entire defensive front, leading to better communication, coordination, and overall effectiveness. But there are also risks involved. A new star's arrival can sometimes shift roles and responsibilities, causing friction or uncertainty among players. The Dolphins will need to manage this transition carefully, ensuring that the locker room remains united and focused on common goals. The coaching staff's ability to foster chemistry and buy-in will be critical if Jones is to maximize his impact on the field. The team's existing defensive stars might have to adapt their roles, which requires flexibility and trust. Fans are already speculating about who would benefit most from Jones' arrival and who might see their playing time or roles change. The human element, how players interact, motivate, and support each other, is just as important as the physical talent brought in. If the Dolphins can harness this chemistry effectively, it could turn their defensive line into one of the league's most feared units. The combination of skill, strategy, and teamwork could finally give Tua the protection he needs to thrive and lead Miami to new heights. This rumor is sparking conversations not just about talent acquisition, but about the delicate balance of team dynamics and how big signings impact that balance. The Dolphins' ability to navigate this challenge could be the key to transforming potential into performance. The financial implications of signing a player like Chris Jones also add layers of intrigue to this rumor. Jones is a top-tier talent who commands a substantial salary, meaning Miami's front office would have to make tough financial decisions to accommodate him. The salary cap constraints could force Miami to let go of other valuable players or restructure contracts to free up space. This juggling act is a delicate process, balancing short-term gains with long-term sustainability. Fans and analysts alike are curious about how Miami plans to navigate this financial puzzle. Would they prioritize immediate defensive improvement at the cost of depth elsewhere on the roster? Or would they take a more measured approach, spreading resources more evenly, but risking losing out on elite talent? The potential signing of Jones could also impact Miami's draft strategy. With significant cap space tied up in one player, the team might need to focus on drafting cost-effective defensive pieces to complement Jones. Alternatively, Miami could look to trade or release veterans to create room for this signing. The ripple effect on the roster composition would be substantial, making this a complex maneuver. Beyond just the player acquisition itself, front office executives must weigh the benefits of a transformative signing against the challenges of maintaining roster flexibility and future options. This rumor invites speculation about Miami's broader team-building philosophy and whether they're shifting toward a winnow approach. The financial side of this potential signing underscores the high stakes involved in trying to acquire a player of Jones' caliber. It's a balancing act that will require savvy management and clear vision from Miami's leadership if the move is to succeed without compromising the team's overall competitiveness. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments What's your take on the Fins this week, looking at the bigger picture? The possibility of Chris Jones joining the Miami Dolphins also ties into the franchise's overall vision and identity. Miami has been striving to shed its reputation as an inconsistent team and establish itself as a contender. The rumored addition of Jones aligns with a strategy focused on building a tough physical defense that can stand up in big moments. This move could be seen as a bold statement of intent, signaling that the Dolphins want to compete with the league's best on both sides of the ball. The defense, often overlooked in Miami's recent history, would suddenly become a defining feature of the team's identity. For Tua Tagovailoa, this could mean stepping onto the field with a renewed sense of security and confidence, knowing that one of the game's premier defenders is anchoring the line. The synergy between offense and defense could reach new heights, allowing Miami to control games more effectively. This rumor also sparks discussions about the culture the Dolphins are cultivating, one that values resilience, grit, and high-level talent. Adding Jones would reinforce that culture and help attract like-minded players who want to be part of a winning environment. The potential ripple effects extend beyond the field, influencing fan engagement, media narratives, and Miami's attractiveness as a destination for future stars. In the competitive landscape of the NFL, having a clear and compelling identity is crucial, and the signing of a player like Jones could help Miami carve out that identity. As a defensive powerhouse, the buzz around this possibility reflects a broader excitement about the direction the franchise is heading and the potential for Miami to emerge as a serious contender in the coming seasons. It's a storyline full of promise, speculation, and high expectations that continues to captivate the football world. Another interesting aspect of this rumor is the impact on Tua Tagovailoa's development. Having a player like Chris Jones shielding him from relentless pressure could be a game-changer in Tua's progression as an NFL quarterback. Young QBs often struggle when constantly facing heavy pressure, leading to rushed decisions, turnovers, and injuries. With Jones anchoring the defensive line, Tua would benefit from improved pocket stability, allowing him to make better reads and execute plays more confidently. This could accelerate his growth and help him reach his potential sooner. The psychological boost of knowing a human wall stands between him and opposing pass rushers cannot be overstated. Confidence is a huge factor in quarterback performance, and feeling protected can translate directly into improved accuracy and decision-making. The Dolphins have invested heavily in Tua's development, and this rumored move suggests a commitment to giving him every possible advantage. Moreover, it could influence the type of offense Miami runs, opening up possibilities for more creative and aggressive play calling. If Tua is confident in his protection, coaches might dial up more complex schemes that capitalize on his strengths. This synergy between improved defense and offensive innovation could elevate Miami's overall competitiveness. The rumor also ignites debate about how much the team should invest in defense versus offense to support Tua. Fans and analysts are weighing the merits of this potential move, considering how it fits into the broader strategy of building around their young quarterback. The possibility of Jones joining the Dolphins injects fresh optimism into Tua's future and the franchise's chances of sustained success. It's a narrative that intertwines player development, team building, and strategic planning, making the rumor all the more compelling as the offseason unfolds. Beyond just the team implications, this rumor about Chris Jones becoming a Dolphin sparks wider conversations about player movement and the evolving NFL landscape. Star defensive linemen like Jones don't change teams every year, so the mere possibility generates buzz. It highlights how teams are increasingly aggressive in pursuing top-tier talent to bolster key areas. Miami's pursuit of Jones fits into a larger trend of teams prioritizing defensive dominance as a foundation for championship runs. The NFL is evolving, with offenses becoming more dynamic and fast-paced, making a strong defensive line more critical than ever. Jones represents the type of player who could adapt and thrive in this environment, disrupting offenses and creating chaos behind the line of scrimmage. His potential move to Miami underscores how teams are willing to make bold moves to keep pace with the league's offensive innovations. This rumor also feeds into the drama of free agency and team-building strategies, showing how high-profile players can shift the balance of power. Fans, analysts, and media outlets thrive on these stories because they offer glimpses into the strategic chess game that defines the NFL offseason. The ripple effect of Jones joining the Dolphins could influence other teams' moves, trigger domino effects in free agency, and reshape expectations for the upcoming season. It's a story rich with intrigue, reflecting the dynamic nature of the league and the constant quest for competitive advantage. This rumor captures the imagination of the football world and highlights the high stakes involved in assembling a championship-caliber team. Finally, the excitement around the possibility of Chris Jones joining the Miami Dolphins is a testament to the hunger for change and improvement in the NFL. Fans want to see their teams make bold moves, shake up the status quo, and aim for greatness. This rumor embodies that spirit of ambition, suggesting that Miami is ready to take a leap forward. The potential impact on the team's identity, defensive prowess, and Tua Tagovailoa's future creates a compelling narrative filled with hope and anticipation. Even if the signing doesn't materialize, the buzz itself energizes the fan base and raises expectations for what the Dolphins can achieve. It sparks discussions about what it takes to build a winning team and how crucial it is to protect and support a franchise quarterback. This rumor taps into the emotional connection fans have with their teams and the dream of seeing them reach the pinnacle of success. The story of a human while protecting Tua is more than just a football tale. It's a symbol of resilience, strength, and the pursuit of excellence. As the offseason progresses, all eyes will be on Miami, watching closely to see if this tantalizing possibility becomes a reality. The anticipation is electric, and the narrative is far from over, making this one of the most exciting rumors in recent NFL memory. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.